Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. If you're anything like me, chances are you haven't really been thinking very much about Shadows of Evil recently. Maybe you went back to do the Easter egg and get that summoning key so that you could do the Spark Easter egg on Revelations, or maybe you've gone back to just reminisce, I guess, about the goddamn rituals, Jason Blundell, why? It hasn't really been in anyone's focus and in the spotlight in the last couple of weeks, probably rightly so. But I want to bring it into the spotlight today because there's something on this map that I feel like I should have talked about like 6 months ago, and I just haven't had time. I just haven't been able to carve out a couple of minutes to sit down and explain this stuff, and I've been asked about it a load, but today I'm gonna rectify that and finally talk about the 4 mystery sentences, quote-unquote, on Shadows. These things have been really mysterious for a long time now. I've seen, I think, one person called Intensive Care Bear talk about them, and other than that, I don't think I've seen any mention of them in any explanatory capacity pretty much anywhere. And so I want to try and make a change to that and inform you guys about what exactly is going on here. Now, there are symbols and equations and things all over the subway in Shadows. They're all over the walls. I'll be showing you in the video here. They're everywhere, right? But there are 4 sets of interesting keeper symbols that stand out that are pasted on top of those equations, and it turns out that those sentences, quote-unquote, those 4 sets of keeper symbols are equations too. Not only are they equations, but they are fundamental, superbly important equations that I'm going to basically be walking you through very briefly in this video. Now, don't worry, the fact that I'm wiggling my whiteboard pen right now does not mean that you need to zone out and completely lose interest in the video. Don't worry, I'm going to keep you with me, I certainly hope so at least, I'm going to keep you with me this whole time. We're just going to talk about what this is and why it's here, okay? So I have my little other camera with me right now, and what we're going to be doing is zooming over to this side of the room, and over here we have Maxwell's equations. Now, I don't want you guys to fall asleep, and so I'm not going to be going into the physics of what all this means. I mean, they're laws that govern how electromagnetism behaves, but I'm not going to be going into that. Rather, I'm going to be showing you Sherlock Holmes style how we sleuthed our way into knowing all of this. Okay, so stay with me. It's going to be an enjoyable detective journey, if you will. So we'll start off by saying that across the 4 keeper equations, which we have written here, this is going to be number 1. That one there is going to be number 2. That goes across there. Number 3 is going to be here. And that goes across there. And then number 4 down here. Whoop, little number 4. Okay, that's number 4 going across there. Now, of those 4 equations, we've got the 4 equations written out, we can notice a couple of consistencies, okay? We have the fact that this thing appears in number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And it's actually in number 4 twice, as you can see. We also have this symbol here appearing in number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, but it only appears once in each of them. There's no double up in number 4 like we saw with that squiggle. So there are the arrows going one way, the arrows going another. That symbol seems to be quite an important one, seeing as it's in absolutely all 4 of our equations, and this one seems quite important as well. But that one can double up if need be. We also know that this symbol here has to be a 0, and we know that thanks to chronorium.com, my website, which allows you to translate keeper symbols. So if there's a word that you want to translate from keeper into English, then you use the website, but what we're going to be doing is knowing that on the website I have the translation of this symbol to be 0. That's what that symbol means, okay? That thing means 0. So we have a few constants here, and the final thing I'd say as well is that that really looks like something divided by something. If that's an equals sign, which we can guess that it might be, then that's gotta be something divided by something, surely, right? So at this point, we're beginning to build up an idea that there may be some kind of maths involved here, because we've got a 0, we've got something that could be an equals, we've got this thing here which looks like an integral sign. I mean, you're integrating here over a closed surface, but we don't need to worry about that. It just looks visually similar to that integral sign, and so we begin to build up an idea that maybe there are some equations present. Then we can say, well, we know that one of Maxwell's equations, specifically Gauss's law for magnetism, is equal to 0. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, equal to 0. And there's this integral over the closed surface there, which is exactly what we're seeing there. So we then can say, okay, let's run with this idea and see if it stays consistent. Assuming these are indeed Maxwell's equations, and assuming that this number 2 here is indeed Gauss's law for magnetism, then in that case, we could say that perhaps, is a B, the magnetic field strength vector. This could be our dA, because that's what we're seeing there, dA, so that could be our dA, and if that is the case, then this thing makes perfect sense. The integral sign here, you've got your B dot dA, you've got your equals, and you've got your 0, lovely. But is that consistent with the rest of it? Well, the dA there should also be present here, because we have a dA, and it turns out that those symbols are exactly the same. So that's good news, that's consistent. Now, that's an E, that's the electric field strength, and that's a B, the magnetic field strength. And what we should see is these two symbols, the square and then the uppy-downy triangles, appearing in these two as well. And what do we see? The square and the uppy-downy triangles. So our E's and B's are consistent. So it looks like those E's and those B's are correct. Fantastic news. So these, in that case, are all sorted, all of those symbols, the E.dA and the B.dA, sorted. This thing here, we can say, well, that looks like a fraction, like I said, and that looks like a fraction as well, doesn't it? So it looks like that is going to be our charge enclosed, the Q-enc, the charge enclosed there, and that's going to be epsilon naught. Great, that's that entire thing sorted in that case. And that is that entire thing, number 2, sorted as well. We go down to number 3 here, and things change a little bit, because instead of being E.dA, the area, we're using E.ds, which is the length, okay? That could be E.dl if you wanted to write it that way. So in that case, we have to change out what we were using before, so instead of using an A and this symbol here, we have to use this new symbol, which is going to be our S, okay? So those two were both A, as you can see, that is our symbol for A, but this one here is going to be our symbol for S. So we've got E.ds and B.ds, which is this thing here, B.ds and E.ds. Lovely! It's consistent once again. Fantastic. We have the equals sign coming in, equals sign there, lovely. And then with this one, we've got some new symbols, so we can say, well, we've got the D's from before, this arrow with the line going through it, so we can use that for these D's here, arrow with the line going through it, and that works out fine. We've got some new symbols here, which can be these, so that's going to be the magnetic field strength, and that's going to be time, T, so that's what this is showing us, but we've got a minus sign in front of it, which is perfect, because we also have this symbol in front of that, and so it looks like this is what our minus sign looks like in Keeper. So that's number 3 crossed off the list. We've got 3 equations sorted now, sleuthed and worked out. The final one is this one. And this one is a little different because it's a little longer and the rules change just a little bit because we've got to suss out something that is a little inconsistent with those. Okay, so this side of it, on the left-hand side there, that side is done. We've figured that all out. B.ds, integral sign, equals sign, finito. Okay? Here, we have an E.dA, which we saw before, E.dA, and that's exactly the same. Integral sign, square, arrow, and then gap between them. And that's exactly what we see here. Square, arrow, gap between them. So this thing, this chunk of it, is done as well. Okay? So we've got this bit done here, that bit done there, and we just need to figure out this bit here. Now, the reason I said the rules change a little is that what it appears has been done is that they have decided to combine the mu naught I into one symbol. It's not written as 2 separate symbols, and by the way, there should be a plus there. There we go. It's not written as 2 separate symbols, it's written as one. We're going to be having that as our plus sign, and then this is our fraction here, and this thing we can write as following. Now, this is not the same D as that one there, okay? They are different Ds. In fact, this is my handy little guide for this. That sort of curly D that looks a little bit like a musical note, that thing is that. That D, which is your regular sort of cursive D, just your writer D, it looks like that, that is that thing here. So when we're up here and we're writing our regular cursive Ds, it's going to be this symbol, okay? And when we're down here writing our squiggly kind of musical Ds, if you will, that is going to be this symbol here. These angular brackets indented in one another. So we have D there and D there, that's fine. We've got D there and D there, that's fine. We've got the T from before, which was up here, so we're using that same symbol for T, which is, again, showing up there, so that's fine. And then we've got this being our C squared, just there, and that is the entire thing. Finished. Now, the reason I said they've changed the rules just a little bit, I just want to make it very clear, is that instead of writing this as two separate symbols, they've written it as one. I don't know why they decided to do that, but they did. But regardless, that is the 4 keeper equations. They are the 4 keeper equations. Hopefully, that has been a nice, logical walkthrough of what is going on there. I've tried to make it really straightforward and not go into the physics of it too much and just show you that we're basically just matching symbols and seeing what is consistent where and which ones change, and if they do change, why they might change, and using a little bit of knowledge of maths to essentially say, well, these terms could be written as one thing, and this looks like it's maybe dividing, or maybe this looks like it's squared, or whatever. Hopefully it's been enjoyable for you guys, though. I really hope so. This has been a question for a lot of people for a lot of time now, and I'm just hoping that I can clear it up for you guys and essentially explain what's going on. So, thank you for watching. It's been really fun to have you along for the ride. Consider subscribing, and I'll be bringing you guys lots more zombies content in the coming weeks, months, and years. Alright, see you later, guys. Bye-bye.